Hello and welcome to Craft with Ronnie. I'm Ronnie Johnson, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm here today to bring you my Techniques Tuesday class. Today we're going to be doing something called Emboss Resist, and I think you'll really find it fun. But before we get started, let me point out that I do have all my social media and my website listed below the video so that you can go over and check it out. Like I said, my website where all the products can be purchased. My blog, and of course my blog, I do a lot more posts than just what I do for Techniques Tuesday. Of course, here on the YouTube, I do Techniques Tuesday. I hope to pretty soon be starting a Fun Fold Friday. And then I have a Facebook page. So, check those out. Love to have you join me over there. So today I said, Emboss Resist, and I'm going to show you the card that we're going to be working on. And here it is. It's really a fun technique. I've been doing it for years. It's interesting. You can make a lot of really fun things. Just finding the right set of stamps is always a lot of fun to work with. Today I chose to create this with the inked and tiled stamp set. And I chose this leaf image as the centerpiece of my card. So I'm going to start by doing my embossing first so that it can cool while we're doing the other set. When you emboss, it's like melting that powder on. So you really want to think about that before you start like applying ink or anything to it, that you give it some time to dry, or to cool, I'm sorry. So I'm going to bring my Versamark over and I'm going to give it a nice good coating of Versamark. And I will point out the Versamark, like all the other inks, should be stored upside down. That brings the ink to the top of the pad and makes it a little easier when you're working with it, when you're stamping with it. I'm going to grab my embossing buddy here. It's basically like a little cornstarch bag, like a little cloth bag full of like cornstarch. And it just kind of makes sure that there's nothing, no oils from your hands or anything else on the paper that might might allow the embossing powder to stick to it on top of the ink. So put that away. I keep it in a little sealed bag to keep the humidity out of it. Here in North Carolina, humidity is always a lot of fun. So got a little something on it there. Now that I've got that all done, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my image. Making sure to press down on all those leaves in the stem to make sure I get a good solid contact. I will bring in my embossing powder. This is just white embossing powder. Of course, that makes it really hard to see on camera. It makes it hard to see, period. White on white is, kind of one of those, you just kind of do your best. Get rid of the excess. Okay, I'll grab my heat tool. Go ahead, get that turned on and heat set this. Like I said, it's really hard to see it on camera. It's hard enough to see it in person. You just kind of have to wait to see it. You can kind of tell when it starts to melt. And we're doing this, I think I said that already, we're doing this first so that it can cool off before we go on to the next step, which is adding some ink to it. Okay, I've got that all embossed. And I'll just set it off to the side to cool. And then I'm going to grab a layer of the Bubble Bath. I love this pink. It's really cute. And one of the other stamps from the set, it's just a little flower. And the Bubble Bath ink. And we're going to do a tone on tone so that we can get a background for our card. I'm just going to ink up my little image. Just kind of meander across the tops and the sides, kind of go in different directions each time. Give it a little bit of interest. See, we're basically making our own designer series paper. We can come off the paper some. That's what our scrap paper is there for. Okay, once we have that done, we'll put the ink away because, I'm famous for what I say about, actually we're going to leave this ink out, for what I say about if you don't put it away, you'll end up full of it. we're going to go ahead then and take our image back, bring our image back in. And I'm going to grab a blending brush. You know, I said before I color code mine. I don't keep a brush for every color, but for every color family. Like I have one for pink and one for red, one for greens. I'm going to pick up some of that bubble bath, making sure I don't have any big blobs. I'm going to start adding it to my image. I'm just going to keep layering it till I get the look I want. And that's about what I want it to look like. I'm going to go ahead and put that ink away. I'm going to grab a paper towel and I'm just going to rub over, and you can see how that white just pops right back out. We're just picking up a tiniest little bit of that pink ink that is sitting on top of it. Okay, so now I've got that all done. I'm going to get this out of my road. I'm going to grab my basic gray and the sentiment from the stamp set that says happy birthday. I'm just going to stamp that right down here on the bottom corner. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to my gray layer. It's just got a really fine 1/8 inch border, so it's not a real big border. Kind of give it a little bit of pressure for a minute there because the heat, when we emboss, it kind of can warp the paper a little. So we're going to go ahead and bring our base in, and our piece that we had stamped. We're going to add that. This is just that white multi-purpose glue. I just put it in these little bottles because I can have better control. Just center that on my card base. And I did forget my dimensional, so give me just a sec. You know, it seems like every time I do a video, there's just one thing that I forget, no matter how careful I am. Let's see, here we go. I video down at one end of my big craft table, but I create down at the other end, so it's like everything's on the other side. Close that glue up so it doesn't dry out. Pull the backs off the dimensionals. Bring it over, just center it on the card. And it's that simple. Now the inside of the card that I made, I'm not going to go through and make it now, but it's just basically a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 inch basic white cardstock. And I stamped that same image in the bubble bath 3 times in the corner. So you can see this one's a little darker, that one's a little lighter, it's spread out a little bit more. It just kind of depends on how heavy-handed you are or how much ink you use, but there's no right or wrong. It's just really what you prefer. So that's that card. Let me show you a couple variations I made. This one is Calypso Coral, and this one is Lost Lagoon. And the difference with this is that instead of making my background, I kept it really simple and easy on myself, and I used the Inked Botanicals DSP, and it's a simple 4 by 5 1/4 inch layer. And because I did that, I had a little 1/2 inch strip left from my 6 by 6 paper that I put for the inside, so a very simple inside. This one, Just a Note. This one, Thank You. and then the inside the same. As you can see, you end up with a nice little series of cards. Would make a great set of cards for Christmas, for a birthday gift, but you get the idea. There's a lot of options. I love the stamp set. I just think it does some really beautiful projects. So again, that was the Emboss Resist, and the big thing here is just using your inks, your embossing powder, your blending brushes, and having a little fun with it. So until next Tuesday, I hope you do join me at one of my other social media outlets. And until next Tuesday, that's all I have for you. Happy crafting!